Hey you guys, let's talk about integrity today. I do put out some quotes and some videos on my social media. If you haven't seen that, you can find the links below in the description box to my Instagram, to my website, for booking sessions and all of that. Now, I think the very first quote that I put out on my Instagram was, integrity will change this world. And I am a very firm believer of that. The reason why is that integrity has to do with self-respect. It has to do with self-love. It has to do with empowerment. Because when we act and speak in integrity with ourselves, as we walk about our days, as we go about this life, we are being true to ourselves, and we are also being true to others. We are being transparent and open. Now, the reason why I will say that integrity has to do with self-respect is because if we have a truth, or we have a boundary, or whatever case it may be, and we are not open about this, and we actually don't take action or don't speak in alignment with that, we are actually throwing ourselves under the bus. So integrity doesn't have, the first point of integrity doesn't have to do with others, it has to do with ourselves. It has to do with whether we actually honor and respect ourselves. Because if we have that self-love, if we have that self-respect, we can show up as the person we are. And we can show up as that as much as we possibly can. And I will say that use this as a North Star in your life, to show up and practice to show up in integrity, because we have so many programs, we have so many patterns that takes us out of being in integrity, like for example people pleasing. Now, people pleasing does not have to do with anyone else. People pleasing only has to do with ourselves and the fear of not being liked, the fear of not being accepted, the fear of not receiving love. So people pleasing, even though that is sort of wrapped into this whole being a good person kind of thing, and it's, you know, just helping others and being this really good person, it is very manipulative. And I can say that from being a recovered or recovering good girl, I will say. I remember very well the day when it really was sinking into me that people pleasing is very manipulative, because that created such huge cracks in my own perspective of myself as a good person and a good girl. And that was one of the really big points that started shifting me on my own healing journey, actually. So even though these things can be difficult to, or challenging to really see and embrace and take in about ourselves, it is really important for the way we are moving forward and for freeing ourselves. Because when we then, for me in that case, when that sort of started, you know, it was a process obviously, but when that started landing in me, I could start making different choices. I could start practicing getting out of it. I could start getting much deeper within myself in how I show up, in what I do, what I don't, learning to have boundaries in a new way. And this also has to do with integrity, with boundaries. Boundaries is a huge thing for many of us, right? Being in integrity is also to say no. Being in integrity is also to have those boundaries of what you find to be okay, how you allow others to treat you. That reflects how you treat yourself. And when you say no to something because it is a no for you, that is being in integrity with yourself. So now can you see how very linked this is to self-love and self-respect? And that creates empowerment, because when we start acting more and more in alignment with ourselves, with our truth, with self-love, with self-respect, that really empowers us. Then we can show up much more for other people in a different way, in a much more grounded way. Do you have any questions about this? Please put it in the comment box, because I think this is so. These are words that we are talking so much about. The self-love. I have hair all over. Self-love, self-respect, empowerment, embodiment, grounding. All of this. We talk about these words all the time, but sometimes I find that there's some pieces missing of how all of this is interconnected. And for me, that connection point is integrity. The more I ground myself, the more I choose to show up for anything that is arising in my life, and I choose to come back to being in integrity. And I also am very honest about myself if I have not shown up in integrity, and I do my best to then align that better, and maybe take that conversation and say, hey, hello, I wasn't really in my truth in that situation, or whatever it might be, if we have more awarenesses later on. Being transparent and being open does not mean, because when I mentioned this as well, like for example in client sessions, there are some people that understand this as becoming more of a victim, or going into that victim state. And being transparent is not about being a victim or being a walkover. So if this is happening with you, when you find yourself, putting up any boundaries or being clear about what is okay and what is not okay in your life, look at whether or not you feel that the only way that you can have a boundary or you can say no is to be a victim, because that's the only way it will be respected. That is rather the issue than you than being transparent, because being transparent and being open and being in integrity, that is something that will make you feel more empowered. It's nothing that will make you feel as a victim. So if you feel that you have, like, that is weakening you and you have to explain and explain and explain in order to make it okay, then you are already judging your no or your boundary as something bad and something that will disconnect you from other people, something that will be judged, something that will stop you from being accepted, receiving love, being liked. And so it's easy to overstep your own boundaries with allowing others to overstep your boundaries because you want to feel loved or you want to feel accepted. But when we show up in integrity, you can actually be loved for who you are. You can be respected for who you are. And you will also have people that are not respecting you falling out of your life because you're respecting yourself and you're showing up in integrity. And so the ripple effect of this is not about making something bad or right, or, it's not about others at all. It's only about yourself and how you show up in this world and how you show up first and foremost with yourself, and then towards others, and how you take action in life. Do you take action that are in alignment with your values? Do you make choices that are in your truth? And when you are maybe not doing that, are you honest with yourself about that? I think these things are really, really important and will make ripple effects in this world, because it allows for people to both be very, very honest. It allows us to connect deeper with other people because they're actually showing us their truth without the charge of it having to be right or wrong or something good or bad. It's just what is. And we don't need to have that whole explanation around it, or making it about someone else at all. It is simply showing up in alignment with your truth. So I hope this cleared up anything for you that might have been unclear of how self-love and self-respect and empowerment is connected to integrity. And I really hope this can inspire you to use integrity as a North Star in your life, because it can create massive, massive change on this planet. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you everyone commenting, liking, subscribing. That really, really helps the videos circulating and assists and supports my work. So I really appreciate that. Thank you for being here. I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.